from London, we're joined by Daniel Linska, who's the head of the Americas desk at the well-known Control Risks Consultancy. Thank you very much, Daniel, for coming in. Dr. Awad is the representative of Al Arabiya in South Asia, joining us from New Delhi. Thank you, Dr. Awad, for coming. First question goes to you. Mr. Linska, what is your key takeaway out of this speech? Which, in your view, is the most important point that Obama makes? Is it where he almost admonishes Israel? Or do you think it's the part where he's quoting the Quran and reaching out to the rest of the world, admitting American lapses in the past?
Yeah, I think you've actually pointed to probably the two most important points of the whole speech. The first one is the change in tone, and I think that was best exemplified by Obama using the Quran and quoting from the Quran. Probably it was just his background which allowed him actually to get away with it. If you think back and think of any other American president who could have done that in such a charged atmosphere and actually pulled it off, it's probably only Obama that could have done it. And the second one is the obvious change in tone and the admonishment of Israel, if you want to call it, basically saying we're not going to leave the Palestinians behind. This is obviously a development over the last couple of weeks whereby the American administration has been very strong in pushing a line on Israel on settlements. Obviously, it remains to be seen what action is taken should Israel decide not to comply.
Well, absolutely. Well, Dr. Awad, what is the key takeaway for you? I mean, another extremely significant point was where he actually admitted, while talking about Iran, he admitted that it was an American government that had overthrown a democratically elected government in Iran. It's a huge admission of faulty American foreign policy in the past, isn't it?
Well, I think that's true in the sense, in the context of what he tried to convey to the Iranian, especially if you know that the Iranian are going for election now. So he might have the impact on the moderate that they will be more coming forward to defeat Ahmadinejad. So at least they will have more friendly government in Iran that can stand with the American and can have a dialogue with the American. But I think with Khamenei coming up and talking that he need more steps to be taken by the American administration, it is a clear message that to the American that unless you implement what you are saying on the ground and show us more deeds than words, then we can come together and sit down at the table and discuss things on an equal footing.
But now, you know, Mr. Linska, the Al-Qaeda does not run on popular support. So how much of this Obama speech really matters to them? He's reaching out to the Muslim world, but even if he were to say dent the popular support among the hardliners who are anti-American in posture, how much will he really dent the Al-Qaeda?
Well, I think the important point that Obama made, and probably he will be making it also through back channels, is that Al-Qaeda can be as much a threat to some of the regimes in the region as it is to the US and the Western powers around the world. I think the message should be that, as you say, Al-Qaeda is not a phenomenon that rests on popular support in most of the world. It is a splinter, small faction of radicals, networks of groups, cells divided across the country, which can actually also harm the interests of a lot of the regimes in the region. So I think the point to make is that it is a common enemy to a lot of the regimes, and it shouldn't be treated any other way. And so basically what he would be trying to say is it is something that we have to do together in the interest of everyone.
But, you know, it's the most also so important is not, you know, as far as Obama's speech is concerned, it's not what he said. It's where he said it and how he said it, which is most significant. Before I come back with another question, let's run that little clip where he quotes the Quran. He's the first American president to actually do so, and he did so with quite a bit of conviction.
The Holy Quran teaches that whoever kills an innocent it is as if he has killed all mankind. And the Holy Quran also says, whoever saves a person, it is as if he has saved all mankind. The enduring faith of over 1 billion people is so much bigger than the narrow hatred of a few. Islam is not part of the problem in combating violent extremism. It is an important part of promoting peace.
Well, he said it with conviction. Without doubt, he said it with a lot of conviction. Now, Dr. Awad, would anyone have imagined, say, 6 months back, that there would be an American president who would land in the capital of a Muslim nation, questioning the very essence of American foreign policy and saying, we made so many mistakes in Iran, it taught us, he said, quoting Jefferson, taught us not to indiscriminately use our own power. It's a policy shift, however symbolic it may be.
Yes, I agree with you on this regards, because it is the first time, yes, it was a very pleasant saying by an American, especially after the harsh time that the Muslim had suffered at the hand of the American, and they created the Islamophobia in the Arab world and the whole world, that have really had a very backlashes on the most of the Muslim country. And living in Indonesia for such a long time, and he himself was presenting himself where he lived in the Arab world and in African roots and all, it also gives you a clear indication that what was missing in the American policy, what was always having the upper hand of the European, who could understand the geopolitics and the proximity of the relation with the Islamic and the Arab world. They could speak so frankly on these issues. Now you have an American president who can understand the situation quite well and trying to implement his thoughts. And I think he had lots of thoughts within his speech, and we should also be thankful to the American, and they are very lucky that they have such a president who is such an orator and an educated one.
I can only say at the very end, Dr. Awad and Mr. Linska, that the only place where we can be sure of a negative reaction coming is Israel. They are not going to like this speech. We know that.